I think there are several passages in the Bible that suggest or even imply that God is jealous. Three kinds of passages, in fact. So first, there are passages that say that God is jealous for a particular reason on some occasion. And second, there are passages that describe a certain property of God as jealous, strangely enough. So it says God's jealous anger or God's jealous wrath. And third, there are passages that say that God is a jealous God in general, or even say that God's name is jealous. So there are three kinds of passages, and I'd like to give a couple of examples from each. So here's one example. So God is jealous on a particular occasion. This is Psalm 78. They angered him with their high places. They aroused his jealousy with their idols. And in the New Testament, James 4, it says, so it's a rhetorical question, or do you think Scripture says without reason that he jealously longs for the Spirit he is caused to dwell in us? So God is jealous on particular occasions, and there are many such occasions, especially in the Old Testament, when Israel worships idols, God becomes jealous. But second, there are certain properties of God that are described as jealous. So let me give a few examples. So in 1 Kings, chapter 14, it says, Judah did evil in the eyes of the Lord. By the sins they committed, they stirred up his jealous anger, more than those who were before them had done. And here's another example from Ezekiel 36. So therefore prophesy concerning the land of Israel, and say to the mountains and hills, and the ravines and valleys, this is what the sovereign Lord says, I speak in my jealous wrath, because you have suffered the scorn of the nations, and so forth. So I don't think wrath can be jealous, or anger can be jealous, right? Only persons can be jealous. So I think this is something of a metaphor, and I think we should take it to mean that God is angry, or that it arouses his wrath because of his jealousy. So jealousy is a motive here. And finally, there are passages that say, expressis verbis, so explicitly that God is jealous. And there are lots of them in the Old Testament. In fact, there are more passages that ascribe jealousy to God than to humans. And you know how jealous human beings can be, and there are plenty of examples in Scripture. Here's one example from Deuteronomy 6. For the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against you, and he will destroy you from the face of the land. That's an example. And maybe the most striking one, I find it the most striking one, is Exodus 34. And it says, do not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. And I think in the Bible, someone's name really tells us something important about that person. So saying that God is jealous tells us something crucial, apparently, about who God is. So God is loving. I think he is powerful, omnipotent, omniscient, but he's also jealous.